Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The demo which you're about to see and hopefully participate in represents some of the recent developments at Sanders in participatory CATV, the new business of audience participation in CATV. Our purpose in making this demonstration to you today is twofold. First of all, we would like to convince you that there is a market in program origination and that there is indeed a market in which money can be made in the near future. And for that reason, we're not talking about two-way cable, even though cable is going onto the poles and underground today. We're not talking about computer control or interactive programs for that matter. Let's just say that all those are further downstream. We're addressing ourselves today to Sanders' approach to a simple, quasi-interactive type of program origination with audience participation in a variety of modes in such a way as to appeal to a wide variety of customers with widely varying desires, habits, and tastes. Second of all, we would like to show you Sanders' current thinking on how all this can be done. And what you see today, keep in mind that we've tried to cut out the blue sky dreaming. What we'll show you today are concepts and hardware which to our mind are practical now, right now, not somewhere in the far distant future. As a basis for our presentation, we've assumed the following. We've assumed that the viewer is a CATV subscriber. We've also assumed that the TV set he has is a standard TV set, unmodified in any way, either a color or a black or white TV set. And thirdly, our assumption is that he has bought, rented, or leased an accessory equipment, which we call the all-purpose box for the moment, the APB. Those are the assumptions we make as we go downstream from here. During the presentations through which we will take you today, we hope to show you three imaginary home situations. These are CATV gaming, CATV home study, the business of studying at home, CATV impulse buying, a brand new concept which we hope to spend quite a bit of time with today. One final point, in developing techniques and hardware for these three areas, and for several others we can talk about later, we've been guided by this philosophy. Any devices which are intended to be rented or bought by a CATV subscriber, viewer, must cut a whole spectrum of applications. Single-purpose boxes, for example, pay TV unscramblers are out, strictly out, O-U-T, out. The hardware we've developed here in response to this idea and this concept, in which we've partially executed breadboard-wise in the hardware we can show you today, follows this general principle. And what we've built we call the all-purpose box. The all-purpose box contains a cassette recorder. It contains a cradle on which a telephone headset can be rested. It contains a digital entry keyboard and a number of plug-in modules, electronic plug-in modules. The unit may have none of these, it may have one of these, two of these, three of these, or any number. The plug-in modules will cover a variety of applications such as TV gaming, the study, the home study application, the impulse buying application we mentioned earlier, pay TV, and others that we have thought about, and I'm sure many others that we have not thought about at the moment. Now, you might raise a question as to who is going to finance all these good things. Who finances the manufacturing and the distribution of the all-purpose box? Who takes care of the associated programming costs? And we've given some thought to this and I'd like to run through what we think our approaches are real quickly. The basic all-purpose box we feel ought to be paid for out of advanced CATV subscriptions. The gaming module may be supported by advertising. Buying is a very special case. We like to call it the Bank AmeriCard case, and we'll dwell on that at some length later. We believe that companies such as Bank AmeriCard will support that portion of the effort. The home study module can typically come out of local or state public funds, as do today's home study CATV or closed-circuit TV programs. And pay TV, which is familiar to all, obviously has to be borne by the viewer. In what we discuss here today, we will obviously have to touch upon a number of proprietary developments, concepts, and hardware, proprietary to Sanders Associates, that is. And we'd like to briefly go through those now so we can keep them in mind for later on. These are the digital video modem, the CATV games, the impulse buying situation and associated hardware, CATV facsimile, and a number of others which we'll discuss as we touch upon them. I think we ought to move right on now to the first of our three scenarios, the TV gaming, and hopefully we'll have some fun here. And if you all gather around, we will play a game of ping pong together. Well, here we are, playing ping pong when we ought to be working. Here's our ball volleying back and forth, one free ball plus one net, courtesy of the local CATV station. Here's my partner Bill, and we're going to play ping pong for you in a minute. But before we do, I'd like to show you the controls that we're using, which are part of the plug-in module, the ping pong plug-in module, gaming plug-in module of the all-purpose box we talked about earlier. There is a horizontal knob here, as you can see, which, when I twiddle it, moves my paddle from left to right. There's a vertical control, which moves my paddle up and down. Finally, there's an English knob, which allows me to put curves on the ball, control the vertical position of the ball as it leaves my paddle. Whenever I intercept the ball, if I don't miss it, and bat it back at my opponent, I have control over the ball's vertical position, and that's what the English knob is for. And watch me fake him out in a minute. There's another control here, a serve knob, which puts the ball into play, serves it from my side if it's out of play, on my position if it should go out of play. In Bill's position, he's got the same kind of a button right here. He pushes it, and the ball comes in from that side. Ready?
It's on your side.
It's on my side? Okay, let's go. Let me move away from the net a bit. Here we go. A one, a two, a three, and down I go. And up I go, and down I go. And watch me fake him up. I didn't do it. I did it this time. Okay. Whoops. 1, 2. You want to score, Bill?
Sure.
Well, okay, 1-0. Here we go. Up and down and up. He's getting tricky. Missed it. 1 up. Keep it on the table, Baer. Here we go. Fake you out again. 2-1. We'll play up to 5. Huh? Good show. Get closer to the net. Make it a little faster. Up. 2 up. Missed it again. 3-2. I guess that makes it count of 5. Huh? Okay. Who else would like to play? Why don't you come on in and play the game against my evil partner here, which just faked me out again. Well, here we are, ready to play a game of CATV ping pong. Take your places, gentlemen and ladies, if any. We'll give you 5 minutes.
Fellas, you've had the course. That's enough now. Go back to work.
Well, now that we've had our fun and games, I think we ought to turn our attention to a serious subject, the subject of impulse buying. Accept my present posture as one of a gentleman at leisure in his living room at night, watching TV, with the all-purpose box, which you see over there, sitting alongside the TV set, somewhat innocuously, and connected to it. And as we go along, I'm watching a show, a commercial appears. And the commercial advertises a device, a machine, an accessory, a perfume, jewelry, which catches my fancy. Under normal circumstances, what do? You attempt to remember what you saw, you attempt to remember when you saw it, you attempt to remember a telephone number if a number is given, or any one of the clues that might be given to help you recall the commercial and the details of the commercial. Dollars for donuts next morning, you can't remember the station on which you saw this thing you really wanted to go out and buy. You can't remember what channel you saw it on. You can't remember the time it was. You can't remember its name. You're confusing the manufacturer. You've misconstrued. You don't recollect the price. And therefore, you've lost all ability to retrace your steps and order something you were very desirous of ordering on the spot, impulsively, as it were, the night before. We would like to enable the public to buy the things they want to buy on impulse in a more facile manner. To do this, we have developed a mode in our all-purpose box which does just that for you. Projecting ourselves to that situation, we've stipulated that the viewer must not have anything near him that connects into the TV set. There can be no encumbrance, there can be no wires, no cables, nothing, except for a little box which he can keep at his night table if he's watching the Johnny Carson show from his bedside, or on his coffee table if he's sitting in a lounge chair. With this box, when a commercial comes on, which is designed to work in this impulse buying environment, and it takes a special kind of commercial to do this, which involves some of the techniques which we call the video modem and audio modem techniques, which we developed here at Sandus. When this commercial comes on and he feels inclined to record the commercial so that he can eventually play it into a telephone set, order the goods semi-automatically, all he does is pick up his little box, push the button, a tape recorder starts, the message, the audio message as it comes out of the speaker of the TV set is recorded, certain key elements of the TV advertisement of the commercial will be recorded, the channel on which he is will be recorded, and as a result of that, either that same night or possibly the next morning, the viewer can go back to his TV set, to his all-purpose box, push the and at this point, one or two things can happen. First of all, if I so decide, I can now order the goods which I decided to, on impulse, to order the night before. And I do this by picking up my telephone and placing it on the audio modem portion of my all-purpose box. I push the appropriate digital numbers on my keyboard, dial up an 800 number, which has been provided for that purpose by, say, Bank America, which sponsors this activity, and through which the ordering is done. And automatically, the tape recorder will start running. It will play back last night's recorded message, which contains all the necessary information in coded form, the time of day, the station, the product, details on the product if necessary, and a Bank America number for the viewer who is doing the ordering, of course. And all this zips out over the telephone line and is recorded at the other end by appropriate equipment, possibly by a computer-controlled machine. Alternately, what I can do is to push another code and play back last night's selection. on the tape recorder, so as to give myself a chance to review what I thought I would like the night before. And then if I'm still in concurrence with last night's decision, of course, I go ahead and push the appropriate number, dial my 800 number on the telephone, and lo and behold, my order is placed in a rather painless way. We have thought of some safeguards for the system which make it a little less likely that Junior can dial the right numbers, and you'll find yourself with a $15,000 sailboat on your front lawn by on Tuesday mornings, which is something that we must guard against, of course. But we think that the simplicity with which you can do your ordering consists basically of flicking a switch on a small box which is unattached, unencumbered, which you can carry in your pocket if you really wanted to, and thereby achieve total recall of what you thought you wanted the night before, make it extremely painless and totally mechanical to do the ordering. I think that's a powerful weapon which, in the hands of a credit company such as the Bank of America operation, should lead to a very successful combination of CATV, advertising, and impulse buying. And with that, I'd like to turn my hat around and become an announcer and demonstrate a facsimile commercial that utilizes all the mechanics of this new scheme, so that you can judge for yourself what its merits are. Do you like candy like I do, even though it makes big holes in your teeth? You're not alone. Who hasn't got a sweet tooth? Would you believe that there's now a practical solution to get around the problem? General Electric has done it again with their new portable sweet tooth scrubber, the wonder of the ages. Next time you finish munching a delicious piece of candy, whip out your handy-dandy sweet tooth scrubber and take care of the problem. No fuss, no muss, no bother, no wires. Remember now, you can indulge that sweet tooth of yours without any problems by using GE's great new sweet tooth scrubber. Just dial 800-882-1000, 800-882-1000. I'd like to address myself now to the home study situation. Home study with CATV is a natural extension of the capability of the cable. If you will, project yourself with me into a typical home situation. A student sits at his desk. He has books, study material in front of him, and of course a small TV set connected to the cable. It's Tuesday night, it's 8:30, Geometry 3 is being presented. An instructor is on stage. The instructor is going through typical study material, preparing the student for a quiz. The quiz appears on the screen in the form of a table with multiple choice answers. The student answers the questions, and number one, with our system, he gets immediate feedback of whether he answered the questions correctly or incorrectly, which is an important item in home study learning. And number two, we have provided for what educators can consider a very important feature, a certain amount of chaining of questions and answers. Now you might ask how you can do that in a system that's not completely interactive. We've done it by including somewhat trivial circuitry in the all-purpose box, which you've seen earlier, at the consumer's end, at the viewer's end. It's all very, very, very simple, but it provides the option for the student to go from a question and an answer to either a review section or a preview section of more complex material, depending upon how he answered the previous quiz questions. we have the effect of chaining one question to another one, in fact, to two other ones, without having an interactive system of the future, including computers and all the other good things that are required to do completely chained problems in our rather simple system. In a minute, I'd like to take the role of an instructor and go through a typical quiz. And at the conclusion of that, I will assume the role for a moment of the student and show you how the student interacts with the quiz questions he sees on the screen, how he, with the use of a light pen, answers the question, gets immediate feedback, and proceeds to another section of the question, depending upon whether he answered right or wrong, as I said earlier, to a review or a preview section. All right, moving on now to another form of the Pythagorean theorem. We see the question, find the answer to the formula square root of a squared plus b squared. I'll give you 10 seconds to find the solution. Either 1, c squared, 0, square root of c, or b. Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. As you might assume, what has really happened is that the chart, along with the coded spots you saw in the answer boxes, appeared on the student's screen, and with his light pen, he addressed his screen like this, pressed the trigger, and he got an immediate indication of whether his answer was right or wrong from two small indicators on his light gun. That situation, of course, satisfies the requirement of immediate feedback to his answers. Excuse me. Now we would like to give you a demonstration of the chaining that we have previously talked about. Let's address ourselves again to the question of one form of the Pythagorean theorem. What is the square root of a squared plus b squared? I'm going to give you 5 seconds to get the answer. The answer is either 1, c squared, 0, c square root of c squared, or b. The student puts his pen opposite one of the spots, pushes the trigger, and obviously, since he pointed it as number 1, he got an incorrect answer, and the following thing happens. The review section appears on the left-hand side, lower left-hand side of the screen, giving the student a chance to review the formula a squared plus b squared equals c squared, so that he can reorient himself for the reappearance of the original question. The original question reappears. As before, the coded spots come on. The student gets the right answer, this time by pointing to C. The spots disappear, and of course his light pen has given him the right indication. And now the following thing happens. The preview section appears with a new question of advanced nature. In this case, if A equals C and B equals 2, find A or C. Well, that's a compound question. The student is allowed a few seconds to work that out on a piece of paper, and the coded spots are not used, although alternately they could be used if so desired. Okay. I've taken you through the entire scenario now, and I think it might be a good idea to do some practicing. So we'll put up the same quiz question again, and put up the coded spots so that you can exercise the photo pen for a few minutes, if you like. Okay, I hope that's giving you an adequate idea of how the photopen works, how chained answers work in our system, and in general how we anticipate that little plug-in module on the side of the all-purpose box will function in a CATV home study environment. I'd like to cap this rather long presentation by saying that I appreciate your interest and your attention, and if any part of what we've done before is of interest to you, we only need to flip the videotape recorder back and we're back in business. Thank you very much.